Hey everyone, how's it going? So in today's video, I'm going to try to beat Red and Blue with just a Tentacool. Now, Tentacool is interesting. It is pretty much the only Pokemon you can catch in this game via Surf, and its moveset is, well, let's look at it. So first off, before I talk about the moveset, I kind of want to talk about the base stats. They're really good for a pre-evolved Pokemon. Sure, it was a little bit of a glass cannon, but so was Ghastly, and Ghastly did very well. Now, back to that moveset, I wouldn't say it's bad per se. I mean, getting Swords Dance is really cool, but like, it has the bare minimum of really good moves. Obviously, love to have Surf, love to have Ice Beam, but like, on first glance, that's it for really good moves, and a bigger problem is that it starts with just Acid. It does learn moves pretty quickly that we could use to defeat Brock, but as of now, you'd like a water move. So how is Brock going to go? Well, I didn't even attempt to battle Brock till I'm at level 13, and the strategy is use Wrap. Now, Wrap in Generation 1 we've talked about before, but if you're new, it's a weird move. It's overpowered, sorta. So the way Wrap works is once it hits, the opponent cannot move. If it was 100% accuracy, it would be pretty much ridiculous, but it's only 85 accuracy, so that makes it not the greatest. Additionally, against Brock's Pokemon, you have to remember, they are rock Pokemon, so each hit of Wrap is only doing 1 HP. But the other problem with Wrap is that in order for it to be as cheap as possible, you need to go first. And against Onix, that's not really a guarantee. So we're going to have to battle Brock a couple times, and the other problem specific to Brock is we could run out of power points. So we might need to use Supersonic and Acid, which has a 33% chance in Generation 1 to lower defense, which is really good for Supersonic, and maybe could be good for Wrap. It will definitely be good for Wrap against other Pokemon. Now, as it turned out, we actually do outspeed the Onix, and for Geodude, we're just going to use Wrap to knock it out, but for Onix, though, what we have to do, because we're running out of power points, is try to use a little bit of Supersonic and Acid. When Onix hits itself in Confusion, it actually deals a lot of damage back, and it's good not to use Wrap because, well, in theory, it would be bad because of Bide, and practice Gen 1 has some very weird interactions, but we could have done this first try victory. Instead, it took us 2 tries. Not a whole lot to say here. 2 tries against Brock doesn't seem so bad, but there are a couple factors that made this really slow. The first is that Wrap takes forever. It's only 1 HP at a time. But the second factor that I usually don't talk about, well, not often at least, is that Tentacool's in the slow level up group, meaning it takes Tentacool way longer to get from level to level. And since we had to be at level 13 to have not just Supersonic, but of course Wrap, this actually took a decently long time, both in terms of real time and in-game time. But once you're in Mount Moon, and normally we don't have to do this, but we can make a quick left turn and we get TM12 Water Gun. This will be useful, well, up until we battle Misty, which we might do right away. But for Mount Moon, having Water Gun is 100% worth it. Our base attack is not good. Wrap takes a long time. So Water Gun is pretty great, but we are a water type Pokemon. Misty's Pokemon are also water type. Is it smart to battle Misty first? Let's see. So Misty leads with Staryu, and ideally we outspeed, but we don't. And this is where the slow level up group is really hurting us. We're able to knock out Staryu, but now Starmie, X-Defend, I go for Supersonic, and hitting itself in Confusion, Wrap, that does like nothing. And yes, it got a crit, but I don't think we're even close to winning. Just to be sure, I'll battle Misty again right now, but I really think this just isn't working. Staryu's tackle is doing too much. They do get tons of crits, and even though theoretically we could have a little bit more HP, I really don't think, 11 damage per tackle, that's just simply not gonna work. And we don't outspeed, so we can't use Wrap. I mean, with some good Confusion luck, we did get Staryu to about, I don't know, 30-40%, but we're gonna have to try to battle Rival 2 instead. Alright, so Rival 2, Pidgeotto is a bit of a problem, because although we can use Water Gun, it has Sand Attack, and it hits 2 of them. And so now, yeah, we level up, it's great, whatever. I don't know why we get Poison Sting. I guess Poison Sting can actually poison, Acid can't. But I've been talking, and Abra, well, now it just got knocked out. We miss with Water Gun. We hit the second one, but Rattata survives on like 1 HP and knocks me out. We can't get hit by Sand Attack, but I think we have a chance to win if Pidgeotto misses or doesn't go for Sand Attack. So we got Gust, and we're at, oh, well, I was going to say we're at 8 HP, but we went for Quick Attack. So this could be a real problem. Can we actually get past this Pidgeotto? Water Gun, Sand Attack missed, Quick Attack, good. Quick Attack, and okay, 6 HP is all we have. We now have 8 because of the level up. Acid, 2 hits is going to knock out Abra. Water Gun does knock out. And now I'm going to go for Wrap. And as long as we don't miss, we're going to win. And I'm just going to go for Acid. And it did just enough. We have defeated Rival 2. And that's good because we can battle all the trainers here. By battling them, I mean, I do wish we had Bubble Beam. But they shouldn't be too difficult. And hopefully by battling only the ones we need to, we will be at a high enough level to outspeed Staryu and hopefully tank a few more tackles from Starmie and beat Misty, get Bubble Beam. And then I gotta worry about Surge, which is something I don't say often, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to Misty. Alright, first things first, we need to outspeed Staryu. Do we outspeed the Staryu? Yeah, we do. And I'm just gonna go for Wrap now. X-Defend kind of sucks, but I can use Wrap and knock out Staryu. Starmie, we don't outspeed. Acid, Defense Drop. X-Defend's not a big deal. I'm going to go for Supersonic, I miss. Okay, it's doing 10 damage. It hits itself in Confusion. We get the Defense Drop. And now, come on, Wrap last. Oh no! Yes, it hit itself in Confusion. Perfect. Wasn't nearly as easy as I thought it was going to be, but you know what? 2 gyms down, level 22. We're not making terrible time. But before we defeat Lieutenant Surge, or try to battle Lieutenant Surge, we do have to battle Rival 3, but with Bubble Beam, it should be a lot easier than Rival 2. Alright, so Rival 3 does lead with Pidgeotto, but, we don't one-shot, and that's not good. Sand Attack. Eradicate, we do hit. Kadabra, we miss. Teleport's fine. We hit. Crit was good. It gets a crit. And now we need to use Wrap, but unfortunately, we're eventually gonna miss. And Vine Whip, alright, yeah. That wasn't going to work. We can't have Pidgeotto use Sand Attack, but if it doesn't, we should be fine. So we get Quick Attack, that's fine. The HP is not a big deal. Bubble Beam knocks out Eradicate. I'm going to go for Wrap, because that should prevent Kadabra from attacking us at all. Potion, and then I go for Acid to knock it out. Sometimes I just press A too much, which is why I go for Wrap when I shouldn't. But we can use Acid to knock out Ivysaur. Leech Seed wasn't good, but with all the HP we had, with our massive special, with Vine Whip being a very weak move, that was no problem whatsoever. And we're ready to try and battle Lieutenant Surge. So the way I think it's possible to win is if Raichu doesn't go for Thunderbolt. But if it does, even with our crazy good special, we're probably not going to be able to win, but let's see. Alright, so the first Pokemon he uses is Voltorb, and I don't know if we'll one-shot. We actually don't even outspeed. So that's not great because it has Sonic Boom. We do make it through with 60 HP, but Thunderbolt takes me all the way down to 7. So clearly it can't be using Thunderbolt. We already know that. The question is, does it even matter if it uses Thunderbolt? Can we win if it just uses Thunder Shock? So we have a very similar battle against both the Pikachu and the Voltorb. 60 HP. This time we get Thunder Shock. We get a second Thunder Shock. And we even get a third Thunder Shock. But unfortunately, because we don't outspeed, unless we got a critical hit or unless we got a speed drop, there was no way to knock out Raichu. Oh, actually, Surge can sometimes use an X speed. And if he did that, we would have won. But unfortunately, Surge can also get crits. He can use Thunderbolt. And while I really don't want to have to come back, I mean, how many times do I have to lose to Surge? By the way, Voltorb can also use Sonic Boom. which is very problematic. Sonic Boom plus Thunderbolt equals loss. So unfortunately, as much as I wanted to try and beat Surge, it wasn't going to happen right now. So we're going to proceed through Rock Tunnel, and you might think Rock Tunnel is easy. It wasn't, but for a very different reason than usual. So we're going to battle the Pokemaniac, and obviously it's not the Cubone, but what do we have to beat a Slowpoke? And if you miss with Wrap enough, Confusion does quite a lot of damage. Like, a lot more than you'd expect, and Acid barely does anything. So knocking out these Slowpoke is actually a little bit lucky, and a little bit tedious. I don't always point stuff like this out, but considering how many videos it's been, and how this has never been a problem yet, it's kind of interesting that in video, 73 or whatever this ends up being, finally this Slowpoke is a bit of an obstacle, but not an insurmountable one. Anyway, we're going to go to Celadon, and Giovanni should be fairly easy. Giovanni has 2 rock Pokemon leading off, so we just use Bubble Beam, Onix is done, we use Bubble Beam, Rhyhorn is done, and, oh, that's not, oh. Well, that flinch kind of mattered, but I didn't think Kangaskhan was actually going to outspeed us. I didn't even save in front of Giovanni, thank goodness I saved in front of these Team Rocket members, because otherwise I would have been back at the beginning of Rock Tunnel, and that would have really sucked. Anyway, let's battle Giovanni again. We know the first 2 Pokemon aren't going to be a problem. We outspeed Onix, and we outspeed Rhyhorn. But because we don't outspeed Kangaskhan, oh, Guard Spec should be good. Comet Punch, only 2 hits. Okay, so we got really unlucky, but, I mean, Bite did quite a lot. That's not a good sign, and it just speaks to how bad our base defense is. We really need to outspeed things. But, alright, at this point, what we're going to do is, because we don't have Lieutenant Surge's badge yet, we can't use Flies. We're going to pick up Fly, go to the mart, get Ice Beam, get the fresh water, get other things we might need, maybe a Pokédoll if I want to use Mimic. I'm not sure if that's going to come into play. Then, we can go back to Vermilion, and at this point, we probably could beat Lieutenant Surge. But wait a minute, maybe we actually could beat Erica first? It's on the way. You know what? Let's try that. Let's go battle Erica, see how it goes. Alright, so she leads with Victory Bell. Do we outspeed? We do. Oh, that's not good. That's very not good. That's extremely not good. Well, hopefully the Victory Bell doesn't always go for Sleep Powder, because if it doesn't always go for Sleep Powder, I think we actually have this. Oh, well, it's going for Sleep Powder again. Alright, take 3. It's okay, 3 tries. I mean, it does have a 25% chance to miss and a 50% chance not to use it. And, okay, we got the freeze. Well, I don't like that. We don't need the freeze. And a crit. Well, I think you know if you've watched these videos what's coming next. We're going to do this again because I want to just prove, for the sake of the run, that I don't need such crazy luck to win. It's not that difficult to battle, right? There's Razor Leaf. Okay. Perfect. That's what I wanted. It was a 50-50 chance. More than that, because the miss. Alright, now, Mega Drain. Perfect. I don't think Petal Dance would have knocked us out either. There you go. It was consistent. It was easy. We just got bad luck. Hopefully, we don't get bad luck like that going forward, but, you know, it could happen. Alright, now it's time to go back to Lieutenant Surge and get our 4th badge. Hopefully. Alright, so we're at level 31. We actually outspeed in one-shot Voltorb. We outspeed in one-shot Pikachu. And we outspeed, don't one-shot Raichu, but it goes for Thundershock. Even Thunderbolt probably wasn't going to be enough unless it crit. Alright, easy 4th badge. Let's go. Alright, now that we have Fly, we can battle Rival 4. We have Ice Beam to one-shot Pidgeotto. Ice Beam... Alright, you know what? 2-shot on Gyarados. That's pretty good. Goes for Leer. It's fine. Bubble Beam 1-shots Growlithe. Bubble Beam 2-shots Kadabra, but it goes for Teleport, which is fine. And Ice Beam 1-shots Ivysaur. Easy Rival 4. And now we have to think about, okay, do we want to go Koga? Do we want to go Rival 5-0? But regardless of which one we battle, we're going to run into a problem here. Because Tentacool is in the slow level up group, we are very under leveled, and we're nowhere near where we would be with other Pokemon. So whatever we battle next is going to be way harder than if Tentacool weren't in the slow level up group. And it makes sense why it is, by the way. If you look at Generation 1, Tentacool actually is some of the best base stats of all Generation 1 Pokemon. Nowadays, it's woefully underpowered, and it's just bizarre it's in the slow level up group. But it makes a lot of sense that back then, Tentacool was considered one of the strongest Pokemon, especially with special attack and special defense not being separated. Regardless, I'm going to go to Koga because it is poison type and we're poison type, but the biggest threat from Koga is self-destruct, so probably is going to be difficult. Let's see. Alright, funny story. Turns out, Koga, before him, there was a bunch of trainers with psychic Pokemon, and while a critical hit will knock them out in one hit, a non-critical hit won't, and Kadabra is pretty fast, so it actually outspeeds and pretty much knocks me out, and then it does. So yeah, that's not going to go super well for me. So let's try getting a little bit more experience in Saffron, and we can try Rival Fivel, but that probably is going to go very poorly. He now leads with Pidgeot, which is at a higher level than my Tentacool. Ice Beam actually does pretty decent damage, and after a Sand Attack, I'm able to knock it out. But then comes Gyarados, and Ice Beam isn't doing nearly enough. The Sand Attack is causing me to miss, and I mean, yeah, that was exactly what you think would happen. But let's be real, we've done a lot of fully evolved Pokemon runs lately, so we're not used to having to do this, but pretty much with every pre-evolved Pokemon, there is a point you just have to level up, and especially with the Pokemon in the slow level up group. There's some really good trainers that are easy to defeat, give a lot of experience points. We'll battle a few, and then once we've leveled up a little bit, we'll decide whether maybe we can beat the Jugglers and then Koga, or Rival Fivel. But right now, at least Rival Fivel seems like a huge long shot. And if we do beat Koga, we already have Surf on a Pokemon. We don't have to catch another water Pokemon. We can then go battle Blaine potentially, and Blaine is super bad against Tentacool, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Honestly, I barely leveled up, and I was already able to make it to Koga at level 36. We get a crit in one-shot Coughing. Muck's going to be a two-shot, but Sludge is resisted. Oh, never mind. It's a three-shot. Okay, didn't damage us again. Coughing number 2, we get another crit, and now Wheezing, we just need no self-destruct. We get it. It'll be a 3 KO, but we almost definitely will win. All we need to do is just keep trying until Wheezing doesn't go for self-destruct. So Surf actually isn't a one-shot without a crit. That's disappointing. And hopefully we get a two-shot on Muck. We do. So it is a range. That's not bad. We go for Wrap on Coughing. And all that's going to do is ensure it's a one-hit KO. Essentially because Wrap will stop it from attacking. Now, we could do the exact same thing to Wheezing. The only problem is if we miss, and Wheezing can use X attacks while we're Wrapping, by the way. But as I so rudely interrupted myself, the risk is Wrap doesn't have 100% accuracy, and if we miss, we're probably going to faint. But, as luck would have it, we don't miss a single time with Wrap. It is the cheapest move in Generation 1, and we used it to totally cheese Koga. But that's okay, we have 5 gym badges, and the ability to Surf, so if we want to, we can head over to Blaine, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Before we battle Blaine, however, we should take advantage of the trainers in his gym. We do need to level up to beat Rival Fivel, and since all these Pokemon are Fire type, Surf should one-shot each and every one of them, even fully evolved Pokemon like Ninetales. This is a great place where we could gain a lot of experience points fairly quickly, which should help us not just with Blaine himself, but more importantly with Rival Fivel. Alright, so we've leveled up just a little bit. Growlithe we outspeed and Surf knocks it out. We outspeed Ponyta and knock it out with Surf as well. We don't outspeed Rapidash, but Growl is fine. And Arcanine we outspeed because of Growl. I know, such a weird thing to say. And it doesn't attack us, so a clean sweep. Not 4 hits, 4 knockouts, it took 6 hits. But hey, we have a pre-evolved Pokemon. That went just about as well as you could have hoped. And we do get a slight boost to our special now, since we have beaten Blaine, which is going to help us. Is it enough to get past the Gyarados? We just really don't have a good option for that. Having to rely on Ice Beam kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Let's hope it works out. If not, there are way more trainers in Sylph Company to battle. But there are no other gyms to battle. We have 6 gym badges. So it's Rival Fivel or go to the Fighting Dojo or level up here. Let's see what we do. Pidgeot, we go for Ice Beam and it's a one-shot. That's a huge difference. It's going to be a 3 KO on Gyarados. but we're going to go for Wrap. We're going to do the exact same thing we did for Wheezing. And there we go. The miss I was talking about. So we're at 32 HP, but the strategy did kind of work. Alakazam, however, goes for Psybeam and knocks us out. So if we're going to beat Rival Fivel, Wrap is going to have to be used. And the thing with Wrap is that it's slow, but it is faster than having to level up. So we're going to have to do that. We can knock out Pidgeot with Ice Beam in one hit. Now we just have to use Wrap a lot. Chances are one will miss. Looks like actually we don't have a miss. Nice. That's good, but we're going to have to do this again for Alakazam. Growlithe, we one-shot, and now Alakazam's even more important. We hit and we get a crit actually. So we're going to have to use this a few more times. This should be good enough. Actually, I misclicked. See? Don't misclick and don't miss with Wrap. Although maybe Surf wouldn't have knocked it out. I might want to level up a little bit anyway. And the reason I'm thinking about that is while this Alakazam we outspeed outright, the next Alakazam, aka Sabrina's Alakazam, is probably going to outspeed me at this point. So it serves me well just to level up a little bit more. And it will make Rival Fivel faster and Sabrina safer. But then I got another idea. We can use Swords Dance versus Pidgeot. It's a 1 in 2 chance it goes for Wing Attack, and it did. But now after Swords Dance, I was hoping Wrap would actually do a lot more than it's doing, but it's doing more, which is nice. And that means we can knock out Gyarados. The bigger question is, alright, actually we can use 3 Swords Dance versus Growlithe. How much is it going to do versus Alakazam? Alright, we don't know because a crit. There we go. Now Wrap knocks opponents out quickly, and because of the badge boost, Ice Beam knocks out Venusaur. Easy, easy victory. Giovanni number 2 should be no problem, so we're going to have to talk about Sabrina. Sabrina is simply a matter of outspeeding, as you can see, because we are relying on Wrap stress. This is the first Pokemon where Wrap really makes sense. A lot of the Pokemon we've had Wrap with previously, the biggest issue with them is that they just weren't fast enough. And if you're not fast enough, Wrap doesn't really help. Tentacool is fast, and with Swords Dance, it both gets badge boosts and Wrap knocks out quicker. So those combined things allow Tentacool to be a good Wrap user, and maybe the only good Wrap user, but how good is that going to be? And would it be enough to breeze through the rest of the game? Only one way to find out. Alright, so Sabrina, the first Kadabra is kind of scary. We're just going to go for Wrap right away. And once we get it to a low enough HP, we go for Surf Knock It Out. Now we're going to try to set up 3 Swords Dance, but after that first confusion, I wonder if one's enough, and we knock out Mr. Mime. I go for Surf versus Venomoth, it almost knocks it out. Leech Life is super effective against poison. If we outspeed Alakazam, we're good. We don't. It goes for Reflect, which is annoying, although this crit really helps. And turns out it was actually a speed tie. So as long as this lasts long enough, Psywave lost. So 2 Swords Dance would seem to be necessary. But if Kadabra lowers our special, that actually, in a way, helps us out a little bit. There's a second badge boost. So we're going to have to use Wrap probably versus Venomoth. It's not a big deal. Oh, there's the miss and there's the paralysis. That kind of was the big deal. The big deal was that Wrap could always miss, and that's why it's an unreliable and not a strategy I prefer to use. But a crit against Kadabra really helps, and we actually get it to almost knocked out, and then we use a Surf, knock it out. We get confused by Mr. Mime, but thankfully, we're actually able to snap out of the confusion. Then we miss with Wrap. I actually go for Surf, get a crit and knock it out. Surf will one-shot Venomoth, and now we just need some decent luck. Crit's a little annoying, but that's okay. And then no crit does more damage, and we defeat Alakazam. So it only took a few tries. The absolute cheesiest, cheapest strats would never work in Fire Red Leaf Green, but hey, this is not a Fire Red Leaf Green challenge. It's a Red and Blue challenge, and so far it's so good. Giovanni should be relatively okay. The only Pokemon I'm kind of concerned about is Dugtrio, since it might outspeed us, but we should be fine. Alright, so he leads with Rhyhorn. We actually can go for Swords Dance if we need to outspeed, but let's just see if we do. We don't. That's fine. So it goes for Dig, it knocks me out. I just wanted to see if we were faster than Dugtrio. Obviously, all things being equal, we wouldn't be, but since we have stat experience and Dugtrio doesn't, there was a chance. Anyway, Rhyhorn misses with Fury Attack after I set up Swords Dance, and we can now sweep through the entire team, I think. Yep, critical hit, probably didn't matter. This one might not one-shot, it still does, and then we one-shot Rhyhorn. Okay, so now we just have 6 battles left. Rival 6, which is very similar to Rival 5, and probably will require the same strategy of using Swords Dance, and then using Wrap against the more troublesome Pokemon. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do versus the Elite Four, but hey, not there yet. So let's see how Rival 6 goes. For Rival 6, Pidgeot is actually locked into Agility because I'm Poison type, so we can set up all 3 Swords Dance and knock it out. The question is, will we level up before we get to the scary Pokemon? And that is possible. I try to see how much Ice Beam will do, and then we level up after Gyarados. That is a problem because we don't outspeed Alakazam, Surf doesn't do nearly enough, and we're knocked out. Funny enough, if we used Wrap right there, we may have actually been fine. Alternatively, we could do something slightly different. We can use Ice Beam against Pidgeot and knock it out. We can knock out Rhyhorn with Surf, and now it will take us a little bit longer. Well, didn't mean to miss with that Wrap, obviously. But we can lower Gyarados slowly but surely with Wrap, use Ice Beam, and then I believe Growlithe should be locked into Agility. So we can basically do the exact same thing. Yeah, we can do the exact same thing we did versus Pidgeot, but just later in the battle. And that means we now have a bunch of buffs, we outspeed, and this is going to do a ton of damage to Alakazam. And we probably one-shot Venusaur with Ice Beam. Oh, we don't. Well, good news, even a critical hit Razor Leaf isn't enough to knock me out because of that poison typing. So Rival 6 was fairly easy. We are very underleveled, but we are going to have, I believe, 11 rare candies at our disposal, which is amazing. Because of our poison typing, we're going to be able to cheese parts of Lorelie and Lance, but Agatha could still be very tricky. So we'll see how that goes. Never like using a special attacker against Agatha. I got nothing more to say. Let's do it. Alright, so the first battle, I decide not to use rare candies just to see how it goes. We can set up a bunch of Swords Dance against Dugong because it has to go for rest. And then in theory, we could just use Wrap to knock it out. That's not going to help us versus Cloyster, however. And please don't use Super Potions. That's very, very irritating. Okay. Before I try leveling up, I want to try Mega Drain just to see how that works instead of Ice Beam. I almost certainly want Ice Beam for Lance. I'm just a little curious how this would go. Don't forget, I have Blizzard in case this is a strat I want to use. So I'm still going to use Swords Dance to power up Mega Drain, and that critical hit, yeah, Mega Drain's not good enough. So that's going to really stink. Cloyster, it might actually knock it out. We'll see. Let's see how much this does to Cloyster. Nah, not really that great. Although we are probably going to win here. Unless we hit ourselves in confusion. Super Potion's annoying. We do restore a lot of HP. But after that level up, and I'm not going to teach Hydro Pump, we're actually going to do nothing to Slowbro. It only can use Amnesia, which is very, 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 very irritating. So I'm going to have to go for Wrap and just try to knock it out. Of course, it can also get Super Potions in the middle of Wrap, so that's going to take about 20 years or so for me to knock this out. Now out comes Jinx, and it actually outspeeds me. I survive on just 1 HP, and then it knocks me out with Double Slap. I think we've seen how this is going to go if I don't level up. So let's not waste any more time, level up, and then see how the battle goes. Alright, so I'm 10 levels higher. It's going to make a huge difference. Swords Dance, Swords Dance, and Swords Dance. I still have Mega Drain because I'm a little worried about Cloyster, and I do have Blizzard, and wow, that does a lot. So we're going to knock out Dugong. We're going to go, actually, I didn't mean to go for Wrap there. I meant to go for Mega Drain. Almost knocks out Cloyster, and then I get a Retroactive Super Potion. Very good. Mega Drain does a ton of damage to Slowbro. Another crit will knock it out. I actually misclick again. I meant to go for Wrap, but that's okay. We hit with not 1, but 2 Wraps and knock out Jinx. I go for Wrap against Lapras. I'm just actually kind of thinking ahead to Agatha what I want to do, which is why I'm misclicking so much. Sometimes it's really hard because I don't like to stop. I like to try and do 2 things at once. The consequences are not looking at the screen and just clicking A. But we still won, and that's good. Bruno, I'm just going to use Surf. And once we one-shot the Hitmonchan, I think this is going to be a very easy victory. Bruno attacks randomly. Funny enough, if it had good AI, Fissure would work. But because we outspeed, it cannot affect us. And we're able to move on to Agatha. This is going to be terrible. Hooray. So Agatha sends out Gengar and then withdraws it for Golbat. So we actually knock out a Pokemon right away. Nightshade, Surf actually deals quite a bit of damage. You know, this isn't going to be so bad. I mean, we're getting really good luck with Dream Eaters, but if Surf does half, that's about all you can ask for. Now, we're at exactly 60 HP, and Gengar outspeeds me. It hits me with a Confuse Ray, and of course I hit myself with Confusion. But then it goes for Dream Eater, and I'm able to hit it with Surf. So that's kind of nice. Another Dream Eater, I snap out of Confusion, and now all we need is for it to cooperate, and it goes for Nightshade. So close to knocking out Agatha on my first try, but alright, that actually went way better than I thought. It doesn't seem like Agatha's going to be as big a problem as I first thought. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, why didn't I just use Mega Drain against Lapras? That's how much it does, and then after using all those Swords Dance, you deal a ton of damage back when you hit yourself in Confusion. So yeah, best to just go for Wrap. Thought I'd mention that. Anyway, we're going to skip ahead to Agatha because we're going to use the exact same strategy. But as you can expect, because we're using Wrap, it's not entirely consistent. I do make it to Agatha on the very next attempt, which is nice. And we outspeed, we get hit with Confuse Ray, but we knock out Gengar right away. We don't hurt ourselves in Confusion, Super Potion is good, and we snap out. So we're at full health, we get a Super Potion, we're at full health into Arbok. We're really close to one-shotting a lot of these Pokemon, and the retroactive Super Potions are really helping. So we're at full HP to Gengar, Confuse Ray really sucks, Nightshade sucks more. However, we don't hit ourselves in Confusion again, and we make it to Lance. Alright, here's the thing with Lance, we have done this a lot lately. I'm going to get rid of Mega Drain, I no longer need it. It's very helpful versus Lorelee, but otherwise don't really require it. Lance has many Pokemon with Psychic moves that don't damage, that Lance's AI is forced to use. So in the end of the day, it's just Gyarados and Aerodactyl, which can actually damage me, but they're both semi-concerning Pokemon. So we're going to use Wrap Strats to try and weaken Gyarados. Once it's weak enough, we go for Blizzard and we knock it out. Now we can set up our Swords Dance to try and buff our speed to outspeed Aerodactyl. Then we can go for Blizzard to knock out Dragonair. We can use another Blizzard to knock out Dragonair. We can use Surf to knock out Aerodactyl. And now hopefully we don't miss. And we do. But we have a backup Blizzard. And that's enough to knock out Dragonite. If we didn't have that backup Blizzard, it would have been terrible. And looking at our experience points going into the champion fight, we actually are in a bad spot because we're going to level up right after Pidgeot. And we probably want to set up versus Pidgeot. So this is probably going to be a loss. I'm going to go for Blizzard, knock out Pidgeot. We level up, and here's Alakazam. Psybeam almost knocks me out. I can go for Wrap. Unfortunately, Wrap wears off. And then we miss with our second Wrap, and Alakazam knocks us out. So here's the deal, Jessica Biel. The only way we're going to win is if we outspeed Alakazam. In the past battles, this wasn't so bad because Alakazam was located towards the end of the battle. In this battle, it's kind of interesting how they do that. They make it a lot harder for me because they put Alakazam right at the beginning, and Pidgeot is no slouch either. So if we're going to beat Alakazam, we need to set up versus Pidgeot, which can use Sky Attack, and that's really bad. The first thing though we need to do is if we're going to set up, we absolutely need to level up before the battle, and we're only about 700 experience points shy. So theoretically, we'd need to use the rare candies, gain 700 experience points, and then do this again. In practice, it's a little easier said than done, because Agatha can go one of two ways. Really well like last time, or really poorly like in this battle. It looks like it's gonna go great. I mean, we make it to Haunter at almost full HP. The Nightshade kinda sucks, but 73, that's more than enough. We're by the Haunter, we're at level 61, things are great until we're hit by Nightshade twice. Yeah, it's just kinda how it goes. Also notice how now we level up before Gengar, when we manipulate our experience points, we'll level up at different times, and that will affect other battles. So it's something to keep in mind. We make it past Agatha on our next run, but then Lance beats us because, and we've talked about this a bunch, Wrap can miss. And this is the ultimate frustration with using a Wrap-based strategy. Also notice I have Ice Beam, so I've been able to get rid of Mega Drain from the Laurely strats, which is kind of nice. But this is pretty typical of using a pre-evolved Pokemon. We're only at level 60. A lot of the strats are going to be somewhat inconsistent. As long as this doesn't take me like an hour to do, I'm fine sticking with this level, but we're bordering on maybe we want to level up a little more, especially to outspeed Gengar number 2. In the very next run, however, we do make it back to the champion. And this time we're going to have to set up. So we set up one Swords Dance and right away Sky Attack. I have to go for Ice Beam. I knock it out. Do I outspeed? I do, but I miss with Wrap. We still have another opportunity and we miss again. That just sucks. That luck is not acceptable. Missing once, I get it. Missing twice in a row right off the hop? Come on. And first turn Sky Attack. Just not cool, game. Very not cool. After losing to Agatha again, I make it to the champion, so this is pretty good. Swords Dance and once again, first turn Sky Attack, and what? You have to just laugh at that. Okay, for those of you who know, you know how ridiculous that was. Ice Beam doesn't have a chance to miss, but due to a programming error, there is a 1 in 256 chance that a move that checks for accuracy can miss. In the speedrunning community, this is known as the Gen 1 miss. It only affects Generation 1 games, and we got one at the worst possible time. Fantastic! What makes me feel better is that in the very next attempt, we're back at the champion. We're gonna go for Swords Dance. Mirror Move Swords Dance isn't great. Swords Dance, Mirror Move Swords Dance isn't great. And you know what? I don't want to test my luck. Let's Ice Beam Pidgeot. Wrap. Yes, 2. All right, I'm going to go for Surf. Yes! Okay, I think we got this. I think that's it. Surf's going to knock out Rhydon. That's 3. Gyarados, I'm going to go for Wrap. 2. All right, another Wrap. 2. All right, 2-turn Wrap's a lot. 2. Wow, 3. Okay, 4. 5. Full Restore. No! All right, well, just keep going for Wrap. Just keep... Oh, there's a miss. Dragon Rage is fine. Just keep going for Wrap. Just keep going for Wrap. All right, this time we should go for Ice Beam. Nice. Okay, Arcanine, easily. I'm just going to look up. All right, we're not going to level up, so we can set up another Swords Dance, and hopefully we one-shot Venusaur. It should be fine. Ice Beam. Oh, we don't one-shot. We're still fine. We're still fine. Hey, that's some tanky Tentacool. And that's a really good first form run. One of the best, actually. Like, seriously. I know we're used to second form runs or third form runs, but this was really, really excellent. Level 63, almost under 5 hours. I want you guys to know that doesn't actually happen very often. Not at all. It has thus far only happened twice. Ghastly with its amazing ghost typing, and Poliwag with Amnesia. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure if Abra started with Confusion, it too would likely be on that list. But alas, it's one of the worst Pokemon. That leaves Tentacool in 3rd spot. Very close to being under 5 hours. Will we get another first form Pokemon under 5 hours? Hard to say, but we'll keep trying. Thank you guys for watching. I've got so many more videos on the way. There's some really cool stuff there, so I hope you enjoy. Take care.